Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Hope Infinite, a talk show presented by GoodLives. I'm your host for today, Lawrence Lovedeep, co-founder of GoodLives, that is trying to make mental health therapy accessible and affordable for all, and trying to create happier workplaces and happier lives. Today we have with us Mr. Khalid Raza, Associate Director, Talent Acquisition, EY, someone who has worked with Fortune 500 companies and is the first Indian to be named on the list of 25 HR executive under 40 by Workforce magazine. So in his tenure with IBM, he has worked closely with the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia and the National Liberation Armies, ex-fighters, to support them in getting assimilated into society, which I personally think is quite commendable in itself. Currently heading talent acquisition lead for EY for North and East India and Bangladesh, we are here to learn from his varied experience of 17 years and talk about an issue that is becoming a prime concern for corporate these days. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on board with us today. So, sir, are you guys doing work from home nowadays, or is it like you have started going to offices?
So we are right now in a hybrid model. Of course, a lot of people at this point in time have moved to locations which are not in the cities where we have offices. The work is happening. We are also very cognizant of the communities in terms of not letting the pandemic spread further. So we have taken precautionary measures and we are operating mostly from home. But then at the same time, keeping our clients in front is the priority for us, and that's where we need to be in office as well, wherever needed.
So, keeping clients in front is a necessity for, I think, for every corporate. So, if clients are like gods for you, yeah, I totally understand that. So, as you have told me that you are still working from home, is there any particular challenge that you have faced with respect to setting the process for talent acquisition?
I think the pandemic has brought a totally new world altogether, and what it has done, it has got this world very fast in front of people. Organizations who did not invest in technology had to invest in technology. Organizations who did not know how to use the technology are now learning as they are deploying the technology. Some of the challenges that we have seen are also coupled with a lot of advantages that we have seen, especially in talent acquisition. So while the challenge is that you are not in office, you're not able to interact with the team and with the stakeholders real time, but at the same time, it has made attraction of talent far more easier because now with online facilities, we can tap into any candidate anywhere in the world. So that is important for us. At the same time, team engagement, has taken a different flavor altogether. While earlier it was that you are co-located, you talk to people, you engage, you discuss your problems and ideas. Now it happens over a call where you see them over video, and what has that gotten is that it has allowed teams to know families more. So someone's dog is coming, someone's kid is coming, and I think it's just fantastic to see that way.
Yeah, when you're on a video call, someone's kid also pop up and they start to say some things, and it kind of create a funny environment altogether.
Right. It kind of breaks the monotony of the serious conversation, but sometimes that is needed because at a certain point in time we forget that people are people, right? And everybody has a family, everybody has something which they like the Superman or Spider-Man that you see behind me. If this was office, you would never know how my home looks like.
Yeah. And being an employee engagement and wellness company, we also understand that the engagement part has changed altogether. So yeah, earlier people used to interact in their offices. Now they have to do it over Zoom call, and you have to like provide them with all sort of activities. Let's say you are doing X activity and people are not participating. So as an HR, it's also comes under your umbrella that people are not interacting and not participating in these workshops. So what should I do next? So that is also one challenge that is becoming prevalent nowadays.
Totally. I think it boils down to, at the end of the day, what are we interacting about? Do we need to interact because there needs to be an interaction, or do we need to interact because there is a problem that needs to be solved? I think sometimes this line is quite blurry where we just need interaction for the sake of interaction. I think that's not needed. I've seen in boardrooms as well, and face-to-face meetings where people are just silent because they don't have a point of view, which is okay. I think, but the effort should always be to understand what is the reason why somebody is not interacting? Is it a personal reason? Is it a professional inhibition? Or is it something totally different because they might just be facing the technology for the first time?
Yeah, that could be one. So as we are moving towards work from home culture, and we are also getting isolated from our colleagues and friends, don't you think it is negatively affecting our mental health?
I would say yes. I don't know whether it's negatively impacting, but it is impacting. It is kind of, helping us evolve into a different relationship mechanism altogether. Now, efforts need to be made, not just by the organization, but by the individuals as well, to to overcome that distance that technology has created, or pandemic has created, rather, I would say, and see that people take out time and talk to one another. You and I could have this call without turning on our video, but then I would never know that if what I'm saying is being heard or acknowledged. These nods that I'm seeing right now would not be seen, so I would actually be talking to a screen,
Yeah.
and not to an individual. So I think these small things that can be done, but at the same time, I think it's a responsibility of the people who are managing the culture. Now, when we say culture, it starts with team leader, manager, senior manager, everybody, because everybody establishes that culture. To see that people are whole into the organization and not just their professional version. Because if I am unhappy with my personal life, and just imagine I have a mother to take care of, I have a kid, I have two dogs, and I have somebody who's ringing the bell. Now, in that scenario, am I pushed to be on the call and keep everything isolated, or do I have the freedom to listen? Hold on for a minute. Let me just take care of this, and then come back and continue the conversation. So I think we need to create that environment, and it's a responsibility of everybody to do that in the organization.
As we are talking about culture in an organization, so can you just let me know what do you think that organizations should be looking out for the new talents, especially from the point of culture?
Uh, it's a very tricky one, because culture is not something which you can quantify, right? We all know what culture is, and there are variations of culture in an organization. So there is one culture which exists at an org level, but there could be a totally different culture in a team, right? And because cultures are different, and that's why finding a culture fit might not be the right phrase, if I may use it. I think we should look at culture add, because when you try to fit everybody into a culture, it becomes a cult, and nobody would want to have a cult, right? So you need to have flavors. You need to have people who bring in different experience, who bring in different understanding, who bring in a lot of variety to your culture, and then your culture continues to evolve like a melting pot. And those cultures are far more inclusive than creating a cult.
Okay. So, so let's say big organizations already have a predefined culture. So, do you think if we get on board people with different set of mindsets, so it will redefine the culture, or culture gets redefined? Like it is an ongoing process. So, what is it exactly like?
Right. So culture there's no definition of culture. There's always behaviors which are expected from people. Right? So culture is an outcome of behaviors. So if I have a regimented rule that everybody has to wear formals, is that a culture or is that a behavior? It's a behavior which is driving the culture. So I think what organizations look for are those traits and those behaviors, and then tie it back to the culture. However, when we look at new talent, we are predominantly looking at skills. We're not looking at culture. What we are looking at is somebody who is not uncomfortable in a scenario where they are applying for. So, for example, if I have been working in a manufacturing unit, so my orientation towards the workplace will be a little different. The intent is not to sideline them, but how do you include them into your larger fold? I think that's what we talk about culture add.
Okay, okay. That's a insight from associate director, talent acquisition. I hope that people who are looking at this video or maybe viewing this interaction may get some insights that what sort of things people look like when they hire somebody. So, don't you think with the increasing expectations from youngsters, it has contributed to a lot of pressure among applicants? What are your views on it?
It does in a way, because now with the expansion of reach, or rather dismantlation of regional boundaries where I had to only recruit from specific region. Now I can go anywhere. uh, what what the youth has done is it has broken a lot of ceilings in terms of their entrepreneurial aspirations, in terms of their intellectual abilities, and in terms of their out of box thinking, as we call it. It has put pressure not just on HR functions, it has put pressure on organizations, because organizations now have to cater to this really talented pool who has really high aspirations. And how do you manage that? How do you tap and leverage those skills, and at the same time not ensure that somebody's aspirations are not met? So organizations have to do a great part. uh, First line managers have to do a huge amount of work there in terms of managing their aspirations and channelizing that force into something which benefits the organization rather than that hinders their aspiration. And at the same time, after a year, person says, listen, I'm not getting what I want, when they move out. However, there's a caution here. Aspirations should not be instant gratifications, which a lot of youngsters kind of look at most of the time. Social media has done that, and I quit Facebook a long time ago, and I was a huge proponent of social interaction. I'm still am, but instant gratification creates that challenge where you post a photograph, and if you don't get a like or a comment for the next 2 hours, you start to wonder, am I not looking good? So this self-validation based on what people are telling you is dangerous. So I think that has crept into people's career as well, where they want results right there, right now. But sometimes that needs to be managed. What they're looking for is constant feedback, constant appreciation, constant evaluation, rather than those annual Vanity Fair which happen, which we call appraisal.
So nowadays, I think people of my age are becoming less patient, and they are just wanting results right away. So that is something that we should not strive for. I think we should always remain calm and positive, and we should look for the bigger picture. And if we are getting results maybe after a year, so we should wait for that. So that is something that we should always strive for.
Right, right.
Yeah. So, Khalid, you have traveled a lot. So what do you think is the key difference in APAC countries and others when it comes to setting work boundaries?
Uh, I haven't traveled a lot in APAC. I've traveled, in towards North America, and also, places like Mauritius, which was a French colony. Just to give you a story, when I landed in Mauritius for the first time, it was around 5 o'clock. Landed at the airport, and I wanted to buy a SIM card, and the driver said that you can't buy it today because all the shops are closed. And I was very surprised. I said, it's a tiny country, 60 kilometer, diameter, and you have shut shop at 5 o'clock. How do you guys even survive? So his answer was very intriguing, and he said, people work till the time they need to work, and then they give time to their family and their life. And I was surprised, and because I could not get the SIM card, we checked into the hotel, and which was right next to the beach, and beach was like a festival. People had come, put tents, they're cooking food. So I think the boundaries again is a derivative of the culture we set. Indians are known to work hard, and that's the culture that we have always seen. Maybe it's because of the kind of population we have, because it's survival for the fittest, and you always need to really race fast to beat the person who's next to you. I think that has crept in, but somewhere um, organizations need to be very cognizant of it, because it burns people out. There needs to be special measures to ensure that there are those boundaries set where those are not breached time and again. Now these could be through rules, but then rules don't work most of the time. So I think it's the sensitization which needs to happen, and again, it's a shift in the mindset and the culture of the organization to say these are some of the things that we will avoid at any cost. Client deliverables will still be there. There could be exceptions, but they can't be norms.
Yeah, maybe they can just set the work boundaries that you have to work till 7 or 8 in the night, because now people do not have to travel a lot. They are doing work from their home. So employers also do expect that they can work till 9, 10, and they can start early. That these are the expectations that the employers nowadays have. So I think they can have a work boundary set for the employees, so that employees can also enjoy their work life, their life with their family. So that is something I think organization should do.
Totally, totally. And I think it's a conscious effort people need to put in, with respect to not sending out an email at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock,
Yeah,
because when you do that, it triggers a chain reaction.
yeah,
So the person who's receiving or the people who are receiving it, even if 50% of them start responding, then it's an endless chain
yeah. And
and
then
it
it
doesn't
becomes
stop.
your responsibility as well to respond to that
Correct.
email.
And it doesn't stop. So I think we need to, and at the same time, while we need to be conscious about others' time, I think we need to be conscious about our own time.
Yeah.
We should also have time to plug off and then not necessarily, be disturbed by one aspect of our life, which is our professional life.
Yeah.
We talk about work-life balance. I think it's more of work-life integration,
Yeah.
where you let your personal life and your professional life integrate. So, as an employee, and I've spent a lot of time with IBM, working remotely, and work-life integration is something which was lived through, where, you're fine to go for a lunch for 2 hours during the office hours, because that's something that you would want to do. But at the same time, your responsibility doesn't end at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, because the work also needs to happen. So I think people should be conscious about it. People who influence the culture, which are line managers and functional head and organizations head, they need to be also conscious of it. What kind of culture are we creating in the organization? Are we promoting an environment which is not conducive for the long run? Because organizations become what people become.
Yeah.
It's very important for organizations to start focusing on people and their mental well-being and their and their happiness quotient, if I may use that word.
So maybe what organizations can do is they can set realistic deadlines so that people do not work like say, till 11 to 12 a.m. in the night. So that is something that maybe organizations can do. And I've also read something in a book that it is called Rework. So it was written that you should learn to say no. If we at least learn to say no, that let's say you tell me that you have to work till night 11 in the night, so maybe if I could just say no to you, that could change the scenario in the culture. So people could realize that they have some other responsibilities to cater to the in the home. So that is something I think the first line managers could do, setting the proper deadlines or less realistic deadlines for the employees.
Right, but first line managers also have second line managers on
Yeah.
top of them, right? And second line managers have third line managers. So the chain doesn't stop anywhere, and that's where I think the responsibility of saying no lies with the individual, but it's individual, to the top. Everybody is an individual.
Yeah.
So, and somewhere we believe in saying that, listen, I'm not gonna work till 11, but I'm gonna make my team work till 11. That's a dichotomy, and that's the dilemma, or not the dilemma, but dichotomy which needs to be raised, and we need to all start to look at that. Everybody brings far more productivity when they're happy, and productivity starts to decline when they're not happy. So,
Yeah.
which means they need to have time to recharge. They need to have time to plug off from the analytical work that we do in office, and just recharge your mind and your body. What we're seeing these days is, more than the body, your minds are fatigued,
Yeah.
because you're constantly plugged. And I think that is something which is some for the organizations. The organization need to do, if they haven't done already, steps towards ensuring that the well-being of the employees are the utmost priority for them.
I think people can make a routine and they can find their own de-stressors, maybe hitting a gym or playing outside. These could be the de-stressors that could help people relax. So if you are relaxed, you can be more productive in that way.
Totally, totally. And it could be anything. It could be, some people just like to read to
Yeah, it
relax.
could
Some
be
people
anything for
like to
anybody.
run to relax. Yeah, they could do anything. But if they don't have time, they can't.
Yeah.
So that factor always remains. While you have options, but you don't have the option to choose the option.
Yeah, you only have 24 hours, so you
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
sleep for about 6 to 7 hours in a day. So you do not have the time to enjoy these stresses if you do not have that kind of luxury in the organization.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you, Khalid, for joining in today. I really got some insights how you have been managing a lot in short span of time and how you have shared your insights about cultural fit in the organizations. And I think those who are watching this will also understand the importance of well-being, mental well-being with your knowledge. Hope to connect with you soon.
Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was our pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.